Good morning and Happy New Year. My name is Rick and I've been working the Course of Miracles out of the workbook for the past 4, maybe 5 years. I've lost count, but it's made a huge difference in my life, and I like going over it and doing it again each year because I get something new out of it each year, and it makes such a huge difference in my life. What I need to say before the introduction, I'm probably going to say about the same thing that the introduction does say, is that at first this may feel a little bit like brainwashing or something like that. I've heard people use that term, and it's merely just changing the way we perceive the world, changing the way we think. And that had always been a problem with me, and a problem, I think, with everyone, because our egos teach us to see the world in a way to keep us separate from each other and separate from God. And this has taught me to feel more at one with you and one with God, and to be a much happier person. So I'm doing it a little different this year. I'm going to read the text, videotape it and put it on YouTube, share it with you, as many others have shared this, and how I found other perspectives. And that's all I was looking for, was another perspective, another person's view on the Course. So I will read it, and I'll do the lesson for you, with you, and share my perspective, and that'll be it. And you can take it, or if it fits, or you can leave it. So here goes. Let's start with the introduction, and then we'll do lesson number 1. The introduction reads, "A theoretical foundation, such as the text, is necessary as a background to make these exercises meaningful. Yet it is the exercises which will make the goals possible. An untrained mind can accomplish nothing. It is the purpose of these exercises to train the mind to think along the lines which the Course sets forth. The exercises are very simple. They do not require more than a few minutes, and it does not matter where or when you do them. They need no preparation. They are numbered, running from 1 to 365. The training period, of course, is 1 year. Do not undertake more than 1 exercise a day. The purpose of these exercises is to train the mind to a different perception of everything in the world. The workbook is divided into 2 sections. The first dealing with the undoing of what you see now, and the second with the restoration of sight. It is recommended that each exercise be repeated several times a day, preferably in a different place each time, and if possible in every situation in which you spend any long period of time. The purpose is to train the mind to generalize the lessons so that you will understand that each of them is as applicable to one situation as it is to another. Unless specified to the contrary, the exercise should be practiced with the eyes open, since the aim is to learn how to see. The only rule that should be followed throughout is to practice the exercises with great specificity. Each one applies to every situation in which you find yourself and to everything you see in it. Each day's exercises are planned around one central idea. The exercises themselves consisting of applying that idea to as many specifics as possible. Be sure that you do not decide that there are some things you see to which the idea for the day is inapplicable. The aim of the exercises will always be to increase the application of the idea to everything. This will not require effort, Only be sure that you make no exceptions in applying the idea. Some of the ideas you will find hard to believe, and others will seem quite startling. It does not matter. You merely asked to apply them to what you see. You are not asked to judge them, nor even to believe them. You are asked only to use them. It is their use which will give them meaning to you and show you they are true. Remember only this: you need not believe them, you need not accept them, and you need not welcome them. Some of them you may actively resist. None of this will matter, nor decrease their efficacy. But allow yourself to make no exceptions in applying the ideas the exercises contain. Whatever your reactions to the ideas may be, use them. Nothing more than this is required. So please try not to judge. And if it fits, take it. If it doesn't, don't. Because it doesn't matter. Just use them. Let's move on to lesson 1, which is, come on, nothing I see in this room, on this street, from this window, in this place, means anything. Now, slowly look around you and practice applying this idea very specifically to whatever you see. This table does not mean anything. This chair does not mean anything. This hand does not mean anything. This foot does not mean anything. This pen does not mean anything. Then look further away from your immediate area and apply the idea to a wider range. That door does not mean anything. That body does not mean anything. That lamp does not mean anything. That sign does not mean anything. That shadow does not mean anything. Notice that these statements are not arranged in any order and make no allowance for differences in the kinds of things to which they are applied. That this is the purpose of the exercise. The statement is merely applied to anything you see. As you practice applying the idea for the day, use it totally indiscriminately. Do not attempt to apply it to everything you see, for these exercises should not become ritualistic. Only be sure that nothing you see is specifically excluded. One thing is like another as far as the application of the idea is concerned. So I'm going to go around the room and do the exercise. You can do it along with me if you like. And do it around the room, the place that you're in. And the first thing that I see that doesn't mean anything is the video camera. The computer that I'm reading this from doesn't mean anything. The lamp on my desk doesn't mean anything. The letter from my mother doesn't mean anything. The box of tissue doesn't mean anything. The sculpture of a hand that I made doesn't mean anything. The textbooks from which I teach doesn't mean anything. The telephone doesn't mean anything. The music stand with music on it doesn't mean anything. My paintbrushes doesn't mean anything. The bookcase in the corner doesn't mean anything. The television doesn't mean anything. The pictures I have on the wall doesn't mean anything. The futon in this room doesn't mean anything. The rug in this room doesn't mean anything. The palm tree outside my window doesn't mean anything. The steps going to the apartments upstairs doesn't mean anything. The leaves on the ground doesn't mean anything. The light outside my door doesn't mean anything. My neighbor's lanai doesn't mean anything. Nothing I see in this room, on this street, from this window, in this place, means anything. So the idea is to go on today, and just when something strikes you, you can apply this lesson to it. And how I do it to keep it from being ritualistic is just if it comes to mind and I see something that does have special meaning for me, I will say, look at it and say, the Gulf of Mexico doesn't mean anything, for example, which I know later on today I'll probably say that. So that's the lesson for today. You do no more than that. And again, you do not have to believe it. You do not have to judge it. Just do it and see what happens. What have you got to lose? Thank you and have a blessed day. Or actually, I hate that phrase because we always have a blessed day. Just thank you, and I hope you learned something from this.